poppin', y'all? It is your boy Gardi3, and welcome to Coffee and Sports, the morning show. Of course, joining me this morning is the foundation of the morning show. He is Mo. Better. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, what's good, Brett? Welcome everybody in the chat, everybody joining us from whatever platform. We appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely. First things first, I definitely got to ask you the important question, Mo. Are you excited to check out Happy Gilmore 2? Do you have expectations? Like, do you think it'll be as near as good as the first one? Good as the first one, or is this going to be like Space Jam 1 and 2 sort of thing?
I'm excited. It's funny because I just watched the first one again last night. Uh, the first one sets a high bar, but you know what? It doesn't have to be as good as the first one. It just could be. It could be really close or really good, really entertaining. I'm going to go into this with lower expectations and hope that they surprise me and raise the bar a little bit. But I'm excited for it because you're getting some of all the characters back. That's going to be fun. They've already been running little commercials with Shooter. I'm really excited.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I remember when Space Jam 2 is coming out, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be good, and I was disappointed. So this one, I'm keeping a lot lower expectations, not trying to compare it to the first one, and
That's the way to go.
well, it takes me. Gene says, no, it's going to be awful. It very well might be, but what's up, Keith?
Hey, Key, how's it going?
So we're actually gonna have probably a mainly NFL episode today. We're gonna have a little fun with it, guys, and we definitely like to hear your input on how you think these teams will be. So really simple. We got a little tier list maker for NFL teams, and we are going to simple. We're gonna rank we're gonna rank how good these teams will be this year, in our opinion, for the current or upcoming 2025 season. So I thought this would be a little fun thing to do. You ready to cook with this one, Mo?
For sure. Let's go.
All right, we're gonna start off with the very controversial team this year, the Bengals. Now, obviously, we know the situation. They paid both of their star wideouts this year, but they won't pay their star pass rusher. So now they have another year where they have elite wide receivers, but that defense is going to be a mess. So, what do you think, Mo? Do you think this is going to be think they're going to be elite, good, okay, bad, or awful?
I think they'll be good. I think getting Hendrickson back into the fold is important. He's their best defensive player, but I want to remind everybody with him in the fold, they were awful. But the idea of not having him at all, now you're talking about giving up 50+ points. So I think Burrow, if the Burrow and the offense can be what we saw them, especially in the second half down the stretch, and I think it can. The key to the Bengals really is, Brett, is not being god awful in September. It'd be nice to see them get off to a fast start, go 3-1. And in their case, I think they'd be happy to go 2-2. So if they get off to a better start, I think that bodes well for them going forward throughout the rest of the season. If they can keep Joe Burrow upright, that offensive line can provide adequate protection, I think they'll be good. I think they'll have a shot to make the playoffs.
Oh, and I completely agree with that. I do think that this will be a good Bengals team. I think it'll be challenging at times with that defense, but this was a team, even with a bad defense, they were only like one game out of making the playoffs last year. So I think that this year, they'll pull it off, but it'll be a challenge. It'll be a challenge, that's for sure.
Agreed.
So next team we got is well, it's Kyle's team. New England Patriots. Young, but they just added Stephon Diggs. Their
I'm not.
defense should be elite. We got a new coach in the building, and Mike Vrabel. What do you think of the Patriots this year?
Well, I mean, I know there's high expectations for Mike Vrabel. It's funny, right? Because he's going to follow Mayo, and they didn't give Mayo a honeymoon period. I guess they're going to judge Vrabel off of Mayo, so he only has to be better than Mayo for everybody to say they picked the right guy, right? If he's better than Mayo, then they can justify getting Mayo out of there after one season. And I know the argument will be that they always wanted Vrabel, but they settled for Mayo. That might be facts. They could have done better by Mayo. That's my problem with them. As far as the team as a whole, I don't think they make the playoffs. Let's get the early part out the way. I don't think they're making the playoffs. Do they make strides and become and improve? I think they'll improve. They have some young talent. They needed to go out and get a number one receiver, although the guy they got, I'm not sure you want that for your young quarterback, but you got it and you paid him. So I don't know what their offense will look like. I'm not expecting a lot from it. I think if this team is going to be good or anywhere near around 500, it'll be solely based off of defense and the special teams. I'm not going to say they're good. I think they're a notch below good.
I got you. Let's see. Oh, we got okay at best, even with Hendrickson still bad. So it seems like the chat thinks the Bengals are going to be still a little rough around the edges this year.
That's fair. I would still take the Bengals over the Patriots.
Says. So you think they'll with the Patriots? You want to throw them in okay, bad, or awful? I think they'll be.
I think just good old fashioned bad. How about that?
Hey, you know what? I think with the Patriots, they have the potential to be maybe get to okay this year. They're an interesting team because I think that if Dre May takes a big leap forward, what happens next could be very possible. I think they can hop into okay this year, but also they could just very well be bad.
I like what you said. Look, if Drake May takes a step forward in his development, if they provide him with somewhat of a running game, and if Stephon Diggs is more of a leader than a negative vibe, I think the Patriots have a shot to be okay. But I'm going to start off with I think they'll be bad. I think they'll be bad. I think there's some work to do, and they might be overly optimistic because they have Vrabel.
Is 7-10 bad or okay? I would say I think 7-10 would be great for the Patriots considering where they were last year.
Yeah, I think it's an improvement, but I just still think in the bigger picture it's bad.
Say, of course, this next team, the New Orleans Saints. I actually
you can just go speed. You can just go speed dial straight to awful.
That's what I was thinking too. I always tried my best to see if I can hype a team up enough. Like with the Bengals, I go, okay, they actually were very close to making the playoffs with an all-time bad kicking performance and special teams. Patriots, they're just young and inexperienced. Maybe they can get to okay. Saints, I genuinely couldn't hype them up even if I tried. That's just going to be an absolutely terrible football team.
Yeah, and look, it starts with your coach. It starts with your quarterback. The young guy's going to be their starting quarterback, right? But is the coach married to him, and have they provided enough talent around him to set him up for success? I don't think they've put him in a situation where he's set up for success.
Alvin Kamara is going to lead the league in receptions at the rate that they're going to run their offense.
Yeah, I think Kamara's got he's got a better chance of having 1,000 yards receiving than he does rushing.
Bold take: Carolina wins more games than the Saints. I don't even know if that's bold. That just feels accurate.
I agree, Key. I agree.
All right. How about this team? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Every year, it seems like they're in the same category. It feels like they're okay every year. You got Mike Tomlin, DK, newly acquired, obviously Aaron Rodgers for one last run. The defense always shows up. Mo, what do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers this year? It feels like every year they find a way to be okay.
I think they'll be okay again. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of being Mike Tomlin, of where the fan base is. Is it okay in the bigger picture for the fan base that Mike Tomlin leads them to 10 wins and they get knocked out in the playoffs in the first round of playoffs? Because that's pretty much been what they've been. So I think they'll be okay, but it's not okay. And I think that I came into this thinking Aaron Rodgers is just going to help Mike Tomlin get fired. And I still believe that.
Well, you know what? If that's the case, well, because if that's the case, then I think they should probably just go in the bad.
Well, yeah, because I think it's good. If people are thinking they're a Super Bowl contender, then God help you, man. Like they're not Super Bowl contenders, and they're barely what I would call playoff contenders. So yeah, it's bad because you're going to get more of the same. And look, with a 42-year-old quarterback behind that offensive line, you might not get more of the same because I don't know that Rodgers survives the season.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It'll be interesting. I'm hoping Aaron at least gets one more elite season in, or at least very good. And if they can sneak into the playoffs and he can get that final playoff game or that final hurrah, I would love that for him. But it'll be really interesting to see. So, actually, this next team, Mo, near and dear to your heart, your San Francisco 49ers. You lost a lot of players, paid Brock Purdy. Number one receiver is Ayuk, who's, obviously up an injury. So, what do you make of your Niners this year?
I think they're one of those middle of the road teams. You can't lose that many playmakers, have that much turnover, and be expected to win 12, 13 games. I know a lot of people look at them that way. I don't get that. I think it's great having Robert Saleh back into the house to run the defense, work with a lot of the younger guys. I think the defense is going to be fine. I'm looking at the offense. Your number one receiver, my guess is he doesn't start the season. And even when he's ready to start the season, how long will it be till he looks like Brandon Ayuk, like the normal player or his normal self? And then your number two receiver, he's holding out because he wants a bigger contract. Really, what you have is you've got George Kittle, C-Mac, and Brock Purdy. I think the offense, if they can be, how can I say it, not explosive, but if they can be a complement to the defense, I give the Niners an outside shot maybe to make the playoffs. But this idea that they're going to be a power in the West, I don't see it. This will be, you know what this season is really in the bigger picture? This season is the season where you find out if Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. He's being paid like one. He's definitely being paid like one. And he don't have weapons all around him. So defenses know we shut down C-Mac, we shut down Kittle. This will be the season where we find out if Brock Purdy can show signs of being the guy, being an overcomer, making something out of nothing, because that's not what he's known for to this point in his career.
Fair enough. I say, Gene says bold prediction, the 49ers will be elite this year, but you got to put them in the good category.
That is a bold prediction. I'm not putting them in good. I'm putting them in okay. I think they'll be okay.
Hey, you know what? It thing with the 49ers, yeah, it's so funny because if Robert Saleh can get that defense playing back to elite levels, and like you said, if the offense can be like competent enough to play complementary football and just get enough clutch, put just enough points on the board, I think the defense could truly like carry this team to at least being a good team.
They have to lean into the defense. This is not going to be offense that's going to score 24, 27 points a game. It's not. You're looking at an offense that, we just talked about the Steelers. They're kind of going to be at Steeler level. Like you'd like to be able to get 20 points a game and that be enough for your defense. I look at the weapons on that team. I look at what was lost on the offensive line. I don't see that. Robert Saleh is a great coach, but he could turn the defense into the 85 Bears. I don't know if that would be enough in today's football to offset what the offense won't be. So I got the Niners at around 9 or 10 wins tops. To me, if they get 10 wins, that would be amazing.
Alrighty, so you said you want to put them in the okay category?
Yeah, they'll be okay.
Alrighty. Of course, I've no problem with putting them in good or okay. I definitely don't think they'll be bad. I think the coaching staff by itself is just like too elite for them to be truly bad. But
I'm glad you brought that up because also this is a big season for Shanahan. He's known as being an offensive guru, great play caller, all those things. Well, this is his first year in a long time where he can highlight his ability to coach up unknown commodities, lesser players. Let's see if he can do it.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it feels like the offense will really come down if can CMC stay healthy and produce at even like 80% of his production from the last time.
That's so key. I don't need C-Mac to rush for 1,700 yards. I would be content if he's healthy and he can give you a 1,400 yard season on the ground and maybe another 400 or 500, receiving. But if they put everything on C-Mac, he won't make it through the season. They're going to have to find a way to have him split time with another back, give another guy 15, 18 carries.
Let's say, well, we got Gene's prediction for Atlanta. Let's say he says they will be, Arizona and Atlanta, but says Arizona Cardinals next team bad. I also just can't help but agree with that. I don't really see an avenue where the Arizona Cardinals are a, even okay football team. It feels like it'll be another year. Well, they'll start off cooking because they normally get off to decent starts. And then they just always, without fail, seem to falter in the second half of every season. I don't know what it is with them, but they can never put together a fully consistent season, like ever.
Starts from the top. Bad ownership.
No, absolutely. So let's see. Do you have any disagreements about them going into bad?
No, I would have put them in bad anyway. I'm one of those people that, while I appreciate Kyler Murray's talent, I don't think Kyler Murray's a franchise quarterback. I've never thought Kyler Murray's a franchise quarterback. I think he's entertaining, but you're not going to win anything with him as your quarterback.
No, and that's fair enough. Next, we got the Atlanta Falcons. Interesting young team, has the highest potential over there in the NFC South. Mr. Home Depot, Arthur Blank, yeah. The real question, I guess, is will the real Michael Penix please stand up? Because at this point, I don't think you're really relying on Captain Kirk to carry you anywhere. But Penix is young. he has potential. He's feeding into the delusional fantasies of Michael Pitt's number breakout year again. Like, there's just so much unknown about this team. They have such a high floor, but they also just have a very high ceiling. Also, they have a pretty low floor. So, Mo, what do you make of the Atlanta Falcons this year?
You know what? So much is going to be put on the shoulders of Penix, but I think that this is a big year for their head coach as well. Um, if if they have a subpar season, look, Penix is going to survive it, right? But I don't know if Raheem Morris survives it. So I look at all the talent that they have, and they do have talent on the offensive side of the football. They've made some additions to their offensive line. Uh, I think their defense can be middle of the road. It can be solid. But the key is going to be what is Michael Penix going to be able to do as a full time? This is going to be his first year, starting off week one, day one as the starter. I think Michael Penix is going to have a good season. I'm not going to say he's going to have a monster year, but I think he has a good season. I think he utilizes all those weapons. I think Bijan Robinson is going to have another breakout season. I think because he's a dual threat as a running back. I think they don't lack talent. Everything is just key around what Penix does. And to me, for Michael Penix, with that talent around you, you got one job. Don't turn the football over. Don't turn the football over.
And I completely agree with that. That's almost why they have such a, to me, a high ceiling. Because if Penix can come in and just take care of the football and be accurate and make sure he feeds all these different weapons, they'll be fine. Because at the end of the day, you do have a talent like Bijan, who's think at the end of the day he has an argument to be one of the three best running backs in the league. So you rely a lot on that run game and Bijan and play a lot into play action and get some easy looks for your quarterback. And all he has to do is just not miss the easy looks. As long as they rely on Bijan this year, I think they should be. I think they should be fine.
And don't hold your breath waiting on a Kyle Pitts breakout season.
Yeah, they're talking about his favorite target, and he goes Kyle Pitts. I'm like, oh no. Oh, fantasy football owners, don't do it for like the 8th year in a row. So I think for now I'll put the Falcons in okay.
Okay.
Because that just feels right for them. Because they could be bad, but they also could be good. And I think splitting the difference with them is probably accurate because they always find a way to be just okay. So I think this next team we can both agree, Mo, elite, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh yeah, look, loaded on both sides of the football. You have the two-time. Some would argue I would as well. You have the guy that should have been a three-time MVP. You got the most dominant back of this era in Derrick Henry, still playing at a high level. Like Derrick Henry is doing the thing that most people don't do, is be a dominant running back when you're on the other side of 30. They don't lack weapons on the outside. They just run a certain type of offense. And I'm not killing Lamar because I think Lamar is one of the most explosive talents in all the NFL. The only question with Lamar is, can he sit back in the pocket and be an effective thrower of the football when need be? And the truth is, last year in the postseason, in the second half, more importantly of that game, he did everything right, but catch his own passes. He did everything right. Let's see if he can have another year like that. Let's see if he can get his wideouts more involved in the offense, because everything says Baltimore at worst, their floor should be AFC title game. That's where their floor should be. And obviously the ceiling would be getting to and winning a Super Bowl.
The Ravens are always such an interesting team because it's never like the lack of talent with them. Like they always like lose focus and discipline, like just long enough in the playoffs to cost them. And that's kind of what happened last year. There's just a lot of really bad unforced errors that ultimately cost them the game. We can argue the year before that against, Kansas City, just randomly deviating from the strategy that worked all year. Like, they're just, with them, it almost seems to be more mental than actual lack of talent. So
I like that.
I'm excited to see with the Ravens if they can finally get over the hump this year. Say, Buffalo Bills, I think this is another elite team. What do you think, Mo?
Yeah, and look in the AFC, I think you've got 3 or 4 teams that you go. These same teams kind of run the AFC, and it's not an accident that all of those teams have elite quarterbacks, right? Like we I think the Bills, when you've got a talent like Josh Allen, I think he has more talent than people give him credit for around him. They have one of the more versatile running backs in football and Cook. They have talented young wideouts, good tight end, good offensive line. And they've added more pieces to their defense. I think the Bills, teams like the Bills and Ravens, their fan bases, and rightfully so, expect their teams to finish the season in the AFC title game or the Super Bowl. And I understand that. I understand why. Elite quarterback play, good coaching, talent on both sides of the football. I think they're obvious. Those two teams, they're two of the big four in the AFC, in my opinion.
Let's see. Ravens will be one in the North, but if they don't get at least to the Super Bowl, then it's time for Harbaugh to go.
Yeah, look, Gene and I talked about that the other day. It's weird because, like I said, they just gave him the extension, but I feel like the extension is like a golden parachute. They're not saying you're in trouble. They're saying we love you, but if the Ravens come up short again, I think the unthinkable is very thinkable. So when we use terms like is a coach safe, I think Harbaugh is safe-ish.
Oh yeah, and ironically, with McDermott, we're talking about this too. I think that if he can't get over the hump again, they might look for into another situation where they might change coaches. McDermott isn't necessarily bad, but it might be a situation of they want to, you know, get over that hump, and they don't want a good coach; they want a great coach. So they might kind of do what Philly did over there when they cut loose with Andy Reid and ended up going with Doug Peterson. They very well might try to upgrade, even though Sean McDermott is a good coach.
He is a good coach, but ownership and the fan base at some point, especially that fan base has been through a lot over the last 30 plus seasons. Who's experienced more heartache than the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia? One Super Bowl for Bills Mafia, and Sean McDermott is a made man for the rest of his life, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how big it would be for them. On the flip side, though, if you just keep coming up just short, then maybe you're not the guy to take them over the hump. And you're not moving Josh Allen, right? You're not getting rid of your quarterback. So the only guy that you're going to change, that's going to be a major change figure, is going to be the head coach. So I do think McDermott's in a hot seat.
Oh, absolutely. This team, Mo, the Carolina Panthers. I don't think they'll be awful. I don't know how confident I am in them being okay, though. The Panthers, I think, are young and interesting. They obviously just drafted Ted McMillan this year. I think they're getting some key defensive pieces back. I believe Derek Brown's going to be back for them, but I don't know what to feel about them. I feel like their ceiling is okay, but I don't know. This just might be another developmental year for Panthers football.
I like the way you worded that. I'm with you, partner. I think they take positive steps forward in their development, as well as with the young quarterback. But I also think that in football you're judged by the wins and losses. If we're going to go off of just wins and losses, I think they're going to be bad. Not that the team's not improving, but the record in itself, they're not going to the playoffs. They're going to be a bad team, but record wise. But I think you do see signs of improvement on both sides of the football.
No, fair enough. This is the next team, Mo, is a team that listen, I hate to do this, it's a rival team, but I think the Bears are going to be good this year. I really do. I think they got the coaching hires right. They made the moves in the offseason to try to shore up the O-line. And their defense, their defense was kind of a mess last year, but at the same time, I thought for the most part that it almost felt like the defense was great until that whole disaster happened against Washington. Then they kind of just unraveled after that, but the whole team just unraveled after that. I think this year with a new coach, I can keep them focused. I think they'll be a lot more locked in, and I think that this is going to be a good Bears team this year.
So I think their GM, their new head coach, who's also going to be their play caller, has done everything you would need to help your young quarterback out as he continues growing and developing. They've added more weapons. They've addressed the offensive line. Everything says the Bears are going to be really good on paper. My thing is, you can set Caleb Williams up for success. We're going to find out this season if Caleb Williams is the guy. You think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay. So I guess we're splitting the baby on that one. I think they're going to be okay. I trust in Johnson and his play calling and the way he views offense, and the way that he is a quarterback whisperer and he's quarterback friendly. I don't know what Caleb Williams is. I know if you put him at a combine and all the things that he does well, but then you get on a football field, I don't know what he is. Is he getting ready to be the next superstar, or is he really closer to being just another version of Jay Cutler? I don't know.
No, the Bears are. It was funny last year because it almost felt like if they could just like block anything, that would have changed a lot for them.
And but also he's got to change his mindset. He holds on to the football entirely too long. Like, oftentimes we talk about quarterbacks, we talk about the quarterback's ability to process things and how to go through their reads. He's not a fast processor.
Yeah, that definitely was one of his flaws last year. So, all right, I'll toss him in the okay category. Browns. Yeah, I'm just gonna put him right here with the Saints.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. We don't even have to spend a whole lot of time on them. You're good.
I don't see the path for them being even a bad football team this year. I just think they're going to be awful.
I think the Browns, even if their defense is good, because their offense is not going to be good, there's a real shot that you see 3 guys start this year at quarterback for them over the course of the season.
Yeah, and that's kind of depressing, honestly. How about America's team? This is so interesting to me because, well, let's face it, with America's team, they're kind of making all their star players mad right now. Jerry Jones is doing weird, press, and he made Micah Parsons mad. Even Micah saying that if the Cowboys don't want me, I'll take my business elsewhere. Like, I don't even know what to make of the Cowboys because it feels like they could potentially be a good football team, but at the same time, like, it almost feels like Jerry Jones himself is just kind of nuking the chemistry of this team.
Dallas is like a football enigma, right? Because when you look at what they have now, opposite of CD Lamb, suddenly you've got potentially one of the top receiver tandems, right? You've given Dak Prescott another weapon. My concern with their offense is, one, let's start with the offensive line. There for years it was one of the better offensive lines in football. It is no longer that. And I know they made some moves to try to address that. But if they're pass happy and everything is dependent upon Dak Prescott's shoulders, I don't think the offense will be that good. I think you have to have balance. More importantly, for a guy like Dak Prescott, I'm not saying you have to have a dominant running back, but just an effective enough run game to where the defense respects the run, that you can dip the ball into somebody's pocket and pull it out. They can respect the play action pass. So I think their offense has the potential of being really good if they get solid offensive line play. And as far as who they have back there at running back, your guess is as good as mine is who's going to end up being the starting running back when it's all said and done. I think defensively, they have some playmakers at every level, but I don't know. I think they're going to be more of a middle of the road defense. The one thing they can do well, they can get after the passer. The only question is, though, I don't think their linebacking core is necessarily that great. Diggs is coming off the injury. Is he going to be the guy that he was prior to the injury? So I think they have more questions than answers. America's team. I want to say they're going to be okay. I think a lot of people will probably put them in the okay category, but I think just as many people will put them in the bad category. So, I'll let that be your call, partner.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. They're, like I said, they're interesting in the sense that I think the talent wise they have a good football team, but when you have an owner like Jerry Jones making his round saying, "Yeah, I regret extending these guys early, and that's why I haven't paid these guys," that could make players very upset and maybe fight a little less hard for you. So
For sure.
if I'm Schottenheimer, I'm calling Jerry like, "Hey man, shut up, please."
Right.
Say, "Here we go." So far, it's interesting. We have one team in the good category, Mo, but we might be making that too. The Denver Broncos. This was a team that was a lot of fun to watch last year. They were very surprising. They had Bo Nix had a fantastic year, which, we'll see. We have the dreaded sophomore slump potentially coming up for him, but that defense is seemingly elite every year. They always find a way to have a good run game. So, Mo, what do you make of the Denver Broncos?
I think the Broncos are going to be real players in the AFC West. I do. I know we by default respect the Chiefs because of Big Red and Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at the Chargers because of Jim Harbaugh, and now everybody's hyping up Justin Herbert because of Jim Harbaugh. I think the team that you should look at, or the combination you should look at, is Sean McDermott. Sean Payton and Bo Nix. The Broncos do have playmakers across the board defensively. I think their defense is going to be one of the top defenses in football. I think the offense will be much improved. I think Bo Nix is going to be even better this season. Look, Sean Payton, when he finds his guy and he invests in his guy and his guy buys into what system or what he wants you to do, he's proven to be effective at it. The only thing with Bo Nix, I'll say this, is I can see where Peyton is molding him, but I can also see where Bo Nix has a little bit of the gunslinger in him. You know what I mean? Like Bo Nix, you can tell there's going to be times where he goes off script and it drives Peyton crazy. But I think Denver's going to be a good football team. I think the Chiefs still win the division, but I think they're gonna push them. They're gonna press them.
No, absolutely. Jory says Broncos should either be okay or good. I say good because of the defense, and I agree. I think they're just going to be a flat out good football team. Now, I think this, Mo, the Detroit Lions might be the most interesting one to rank of them all because, well, they're pretty much returning a lot. They're returning a good chunk of their team, except their defensive and offensive coordinator. And, yeah, that's huge. So, last year, obviously, this was an elite 15-win football team. Well, I think this year they might take a step back into the good category, and it's not necessarily because of the coaching or it might not be because of the talent. It's trying to integrate a new offensive and defensive coordinator that might take a step back for them by itself. So I think the Lions will probably have another really good season. They'll probably win like 11, 12 games, but they're definitely taking a step back from last year and integrating new coordinators at both spots. I think it might knock them from elite just to good this year, even if it's a temporary step back.
Man, I'm wanting to just put them in the good category, but something tells me they might be okay. I think people forget that when you lose the quarterback of your offensive line, who was your Pro Bowl center, that's a big loss. That's a big loss across the board. Those coordinators, those are big losses. And while you're bringing back a lot of the guys talent wise, leadership matters. Dan Campbell's at the helm. I love him. He's a motivator, but is he a culture building coach that I can just plug in 2 more coordinators and we won't miss a beat? I don't know that. I don't know that. And I think that Jared Goff is the kind of quarterback that the more pressure you put on him, the more he's going to fold like a cheap suit. I think they're closer to okay than good, but if you want to put them in the good category, I'm okay with it. But I think they definitely take a major step back in that division. If we want to believe the Bears are going to be good to okay, if we want to believe your Packers are going to be good, everybody can't be good. I know we talked about this. I know me and Gene talked about where 3 teams could win 10 games in that division. I'm not saying it's impossible. I think that's a real potential. Somebody's taking an L though. Somebody's going to take a step back. For 3 teams to win 10 plus games or 10 games, I think Detroit takes a bigger step back. So you said they'll win 12 games. I think they're going to be around 10 wins.
No, that's fair enough. They're just so tough to read because it feels like that they didn't have like too many losses, but their losses were just massive ones. So they're a tough team to gauge.
They are.
So you know what? We want to go bold. Okay, I'll throw them an okay. I'm cool with that. I love being bold with these lists. Fortune favors the bold. How about Jory's Tennessee Titans? I think this, it's funny. Some teams are like bad because they're just bad. But I think the Titans will be a bad team this year. But I think they'll at least have one thing that they didn't have last year. They have hope. They have potential, which is a lot more than you can say last year. Obviously, getting Cam Ward in the draft is massive for them. Should be a massive upgrade over Will Levis, and at least the Titans won't get memed every week. I think this will be a team that maybe 2-3 years from now could be a good football team. But I think there is going to be a lot of growing pains this year for Tennessee.
I agree about the growing pains, but I also think they got it right in getting Cam Ward. So maybe some growing pains, but I look at this season for them as a whole as more of a developmental year, right? They've got a lot of young guys. They've got a blend of younger guys and veterans, but everything is centered around Cam Ward, who I think is, when it's all said and done, is going to be a special talent, a special football player. What the record will be, even if their record is somewhere below 500, I still think they take strides because of the development of Cam Ward and some of the young guys that came in with them. All I'm saying is, in the bigger picture, Tennessee is going in the right direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I'm like unsure if this year, if it'll lead to the results that we think it might. And I don't know if they'll be an okay team or a bad team this year. But what I do know is they're a team that they're making all the right moves for right now. And I love to see that.
Right. So, record wise, because we're doing it this way, I think their record will be bad. But I think the team is going to have a good year because I think they're going to take strides forward on both sides of the football.
So no, and I think that's where I'm at with the Titans. I think this year bad. Next year, I think they move up to they take
Okay
a
or
nice
good?
leap
Yes.
and they
Yes.
jump into that okay or good category.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
So we'll start them in bad, and then I think second half of the year is going to be their time of the year. It's funny that I think that could be it too. It could be the first half of the year bad, but as they get more comfortable and grow together, they could really jump into the okay category. So, like I said, I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna be watching the Titans this year. I'm high on them. We just got to proceed with caution with young teams. Now, I think the Packers. Is it a homer thing to say that they're going to be good? Like their supposed down year was 11 wins last year.
Yeah, it's a homer pick, but I think you're right. I think so. So as high as people are on the Bears, I still think the Packers will have a better season than the Bears. So if the Bears are going to be okay, the Packers are going to be good. I think again, I don't know what Caleb Williams will be, but I know that Jordan Love, his confidence is a strength. And sometimes it could be a weakness because he'll throw the ball in spots that you shouldn't throw him in. But I think Jordan Love has a great season this year. I think he's going to live off the play action because you do have a strong run game. You've just added more talent to your already crazy deep receiving core. I think the Packers are going to be a good football team, point blank, period. So I'm looking at a team that's going to win anywhere between 12 and 13 games. That's what I think.
No, and that's fair enough. I think that also with the Packers, we saw last year, unfortunately, in the Eagles game, offensive linemen started dropping like flies. We were just down to like backups that had no business playing in a playoff game. And it showed. So what did the Packers do? They went out and they signed Aaron Banks. They picked up a couple extra, offensive linemen in the draft. Like they made sure that we were loaded on offensive linemen. We extended Zach Tom this year. Like I love that. I love what we did, and I think that last year 11 wins is normally enough to win the entire division in most divisions. And
right.
I think if they at least play at that level, and I think this year they'll be better because obviously we had Jordan Love dealing with injuries last year. And even then, he ended the year on a nice little stretch where he threw 10 touchdowns to only 2 picks. I think if we get a fully healthy Love, then yeah, the Packers very well could at least match the 11 wins or be like a 12-win team.
Agreed.
Now, this next team, the Houston Texans, love the talent. I love CJ Stroud, Will Anderson. Daniil Hunter is a great duo. Nico Collins at $24 million a year is a steal. But I think they have the same question as last year, Mo. Can they keep CJ Stroud upright? And it feels like that's going to be the difference in their season. Last year, CJ Stroud was fighting for his life. And this year, it could happen again.
And they made moves on the offensive line, but you could argue they made moves that made the offensive line weaker, worse. Like I don't get it. The key to this whole team really is keeping CJ Stroud upright, which they failed to do last year. And also obviously you're going to need your receivers, and you can't predict health, but Nico Collins, it's a must if he's healthy, I think Nico Collins is one of the top tier receivers in football when he's healthy. But he's got to be healthy and remain healthy. I think Tank Dell is a good tool. Like they don't lack for talent. Joe Mixon has been a rock solid running back for years. The key to me for the whole Texans season, Brett, is their offensive line. It is what you're going to get from them. I'm not even talking about run blocking, strictly based on what they do in terms of pass protection.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. Because it feels like this should be a good football team, Mo. But it feels like that offensive line is literally the difference of this being a good football team with maybe even some potential to really battle the elites and push them to their limits, or just being an okay football team that are just going to get blown out by any team with a competent pass rush.
I think that's why they're more in the okay category. Because and even in that division that isn't one of the strongest divisions in football, on the outside you look and go, well, the Texans should just dominate this division. They're not going to, though. I think they're the best team in the division, but they're not going to dominate the division.
No, fair enough. This next team, Mo, the Colts, I don't think we got to spend a lot of time on them. The real question, bad or awful?
I'm going to be kind because Ursay's daughters are running the show now, and I always thought that Ursay was a train wreck. Rest his soul, but I'm going to give them a chance to just be bad in year one. You know what I mean? Obviously, the biggest question with the Colts, real simple: do you have competent quarterback play? Can Anthony Richardson take a step in his development and prove that he's a franchise quarterback? I'm going to take it this way. There's always a chance, but he would have to make a monster leap from what we've seen so far.
Hey, and that's fair enough. This next team, Mo, interesting again, and it's a make or break year for this guy. Sunshine and the Jaguars.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, this team could be okay, but they could also be really awful. Like, I don't know what to make of them. Like, at least with the Colts, I can go, well, they have an elite running back in JT. They have a really strong, they could potentially come back and have a strong defense. They really short up their run defense a bit. So, like, I can sell myself on the run game and defense of the Colts, keeping them out of awful. Jaguars are a different story because if Trevor Lawrence has another down year, it's like, okay, the defense just kind of sucks. Like, at the end, took a step back last year. The wide receivers couldn't catch anything. Like, I guess the real question, Mo, does Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars rise to the occasion? Like, can Trevor Lawrence carry them into like an okay category, or are they just going to be a bad or awful football team?
That's interesting. Because I know a lot of people are really high on Trevor Lawrence. I wasn't. I wasn't. I wasn't. Not from the start. And how you just couldn't put your finger on it. I know what I saw in college, and in college, he looked like a monster, an out and out beast, and I get it. But I never was there. That doesn't mean that I don't think he can turn it around and become a top tier quarterback. But look, the time is ticking. If they have a duplicate season of what they had last year, and his numbers or his leadership as a whole looks the same as it did last year, at some point you realize that while I wouldn't want to use the word bust. Let's just say he's been a disappointment. He's been and I don't know that he doesn't need a change of scenery. At some point that might be what happens, that they go their separate ways. Maybe he needs to go somewhere and get a fresh start and be behind somebody who's a quarterback guru. I just think that watching him on the field sometimes and on the sidelines interact with his teammates, I think he's too much in his own head. I think as a whole, Brett, I think they're gonna be a bad football team. That's what I think. I'm not gonna go awful, but I think they're gonna be a bad football team.
Oh, fair enough. Chiefs, I think we can agree that with Patrick Mahomes, the defense, and Andy Reid and Spags, like they're going to be probably elite again this year. The
Yep.
offense perfected complementary football, and that's all they need to do again this year.
Yeah, I think with Kansas City, the floor is good, but I'm okay with you putting them as a lead again. Look, Big Red, Mahomes, Spags, that's enough for me.
And another interesting team, the Rams. I thought they were going to take a step back last year. Instead, they took a step forward, and they almost, knocked the Eagles out of the playoffs altogether. So I think that they're going to have another good year. I think they have an outside chance at being an elite team. This is the team that did also add Devontae Adams to go along with Puka. So, what do you think, Mo? Is this going to be I'd probably put them in good, Mo. What do you think?
I got the Rams good. I actually think the Rams win the division.
Oh, fair enough. Chargers, I think we can also both agree that this will be a good football team again.
I agree.
Even though they got my favorite quarterback, hypothetical Herbert.
Hypothetical.
I saw a post again yesterday. Somebody goes, if you put Herbert on those Eagles team, Herbert would have won the Super Bowl 3 times in 1 year. I'm like, okay, Shaq, chill out. Like, we're doing the same thing we're doing with McGrady now. Like,
right.
Can't do that. Like, he would have thrown 3 picks and got smoked out by the Rams. Like, let's not.
Justin Herbert will be a better quarterback because of Jim Harbaugh and how Jim Harbaugh coaches football. Jim Harbaugh believes in defense and the run game, and I think the defense and run game will be great compliments to anything that Justin Herbert provides. Like he's an elite talent, but I think their offense is going to be very balanced. I don't think he's going to be putting up like 40 touchdowns or anything like that. But I think that he'll be very good under the way Jim Harbaugh coaches.
Absolutely. How about the Dolphins? Oh, this team might be awful.
I'm going bad. I'm going bad because no, go ahead. You go.
Oh no, I say you have a quarterback and wide receiver one that clearly just aren't on the same page. A defense that is a question mark, and a team overall that can't play in December. So I am not high on the Dolphins at all.
So I think record-wise they'll be bad. Could they outplay our expectations? Like, could the Dolphins end up being a 10-win team? I think they have the potential, but I think that's assuming Hill and Tua are on the same page, and that Tua not only stays healthy, but he has an elite season, a big season. Like Tyreek Hill returns to Tyreek Hill with 1,400 receiving yards. Those things happen, and now you're talking about 10 wins. But again, every time you got to start a sentence off with if this and if that, that's not a good sign.
Oh, fair enough. Minnesota Vikings, they're interesting because it feels like they have all the pieces to be at least. I think they'll be okay this year. I think JJ, as long as he's competent and gets the ball to his playmakers, the offense will be firing again. Brian Flores is one of the most creative defensive minds in the league. This could also, like, as long as JJ doesn't turn the ball over a lot, it feels like the Minnesota Vikings will be an okay football team at least.
Will they have the record they had last year? No, but I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be right there in the hunt. They'll be fine. So I agree with you. JJ McCarthy, all he has to do is play competent football, and I think he can do that.
I love how we have the entire NFC North pretty much in the playoff hunt. We're doing this again this year.
We are doing that.
Giants. Yeah, I'm just gonna probably wrap it up right there. I
Here's the crazy thing. I think their defense is going to be good. They're going to have one of the better defenses in football. But I also think that their offense potentially, depending on what you get from the quarterback, it could be middle of the road or god awful. I don't know. Here's the scary part. Like Cleveland, I feel like they're going to have multiple guys start at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think they may have been able to escape the awful section, but also having the hardest schedule in the league is just
That's rough. And again, Gene talked about this. We talked about this before. When your coach is given a mandate, make the playoffs or you fired, and your team's not really built like that, I think you already start the season off behind the eight ball. I'm not rooting against Dayball, but it's a lot. I think the defense is way ahead of the offense.
and I agree. I'm not rooting against Dayball, but at the same time, I'm just saying if you bought that house, you better start getting that up. Better get that up. Get that up on Zillow immediately because you won't need it after this year. If Dayball does actually like somehow get this team to the playoffs, and if he somehow has his job after this year, build him a statue outside the stadium. Like he deserves that.
And a statue, a big extension, a bonus, all those things.
How about the New York Jets? After seeing the news that Justin Fields got carted off the field yesterday, this team just might be awful. Like,
well, the report updated. They said that he's actually back. He's practicing today.
Is he?
I think
That's good.
I think they said he had a dislocated toe, but he's back practicing. So
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this team. New coach Justin Fields is kind of an enigma at this point. So, where would you want to put the Jets, Mo? What do you think?
Very talented on defense. They have weapons across the board on offense. Everything rises and falls on what Justin Fields can do as the quarterback. He has every requisite talent that you would want. I think I want to put the Jets. I want to say they're going to be okay.
All right. Well, I say the Raiders. They're an interesting bunch.
I think they're going to be a feisty bunch. They might win some games they shouldn't win, but I'm going to do the record thing. I think they're going to be bad.
Say Seahawks, I think, are a very interesting squad. Like, I think this might not be a great football team. I'm also just not that high on Sam Darnold in Seattle. We saw when the pressure kind of cranked up for him, he really folded hard at the end of the year. And I think that happens again this year. Like, I think with the talent that they have, this could be an okay football team.
Yeah.
But I also just don't have a lot of faith in Sam Darnold.
So you're thinking bad.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking if you like, for example, if you wanted to put him in okay, I wouldn't have any qualms about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bad. I'm gonna go bad. Everybody can't be good in that division, so I'm gonna go bad.
No, fair enough. See, Buccaneers. I think Tampa. I actually think Tampa will be good.
They're gonna be good. I think they win the division. They're gonna be good. On both sides of the football.
Say I think we know where to put the Eagles. Kidding, by the way.
Yeah. And there you go. That is the big four. That's what I was talking about. That's the big, and it's weird, right? Because the big four, 3 of the big 4 in the AFC. That's crazy.
And of course, and I think we can agree that this would also round out kind of the good category.
I think Washington will be good. I think they take a slight step back record wise, but I think they'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this kind of accurately represents the NFL because, like, it's funny because there's normally not a ton of like really awful teams in absolute despair. there's just normally a handful of awful teams and a lot of teams that are bad who just also have bad luck. So,
I mean, look at the okay category, and then look at the bad category. A play here or there, and somebody could be up to okay. You know what I mean? Like the NFL is the ultimate team sport. So, I actually like the list. By the way, nothing against Giants, Browns, or Saints fans. I of those three teams that are in that category, if the Giants could get competent quarterback play, I'm not talking about 30 touchdowns, but 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, and to go with that defense. If you go 3-and-out and you don't turn the football over, I think the Giants have a chance to be a 500 football team, and that's with a hellacious schedule. But again, whenever you lead with if this and if that, there's a reason why they're in the category they're in.
No, and that's absolutely fair enough. I do like the. It's funny because I do like the Giants team. It's just I think they just got cursed with a bad schedule, but could be a blessing in disguise. They could just end up getting their franchise quarterback in the draft this upcoming year out of this. So as long as we see them take a positive step forward, like I think they'll be awful, but at the same time, if they look competitive in these games, like
see, that's the crazy part. They could be better than they were last year, but because Dayball's mandate has been playoffs or fired, he's not going to be the coach that reaps the benefits of these guys developing because he's going to get fired. He's getting fired.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's our but yeah, no, that's our show for you this week. There's our tier list of NFL teams. That was a lot of fun, Mo. I have to do a couple more of these.
For sure.
Say, anything you want to add before we get up on out of here?
Thank you to the chat. Appreciate Gene, Jory, Key, Tony, everybody coming through. Much love. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire Network. Wire Network. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And obviously, as you can see from me, Brody, and Peanut, we definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we definitely hope you enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you on Tuesday for Meanie Boys.